Morning, pre-calculus class today. So I want to start it with conic sections. So chapter 10, 10.1 circles. So distance formula. So I'm sure you guys already learned distance formula in geometry, and hopefully you guys do recognize the formula. And also for the conic section, we talk about this in algebra 2. For those of you who have me for algebra 2 or intermediate algebra already. But for those of you like first time you're taking my math class in pre-cal, so this one is something that you guys must know. Okay? So find the distance between the following points. So according to the distance formula, I can show the proof for that. That one is coming out from the Pythagorean theorem, but it's a time consuming, so let's just do that with the distance formula. So basically this one, just plug in a number, but before we do that, we need to plug in the point first. So we need to identify the value x1, y1, x2, y2. So whatever the given point that we have here, so this one we've started with x1, y1 first. Okay, so let me use different color. So x1, y1. And then the other point following along with this, so x2, y2. So using the distance formula, so d equals square root of the quantity of x2 minus x1, so negative 2 minus 3, quantity square, plus y2 minus y1, so 1 minus negative 5, so negative negative, so that turns out to be positive, quantity square. And then from here, so you just want to evaluate it, so negative 2 minus 3, which is negative 5, quantity square, so then that'll be 25. So square root of 25 plus 1 plus 5, quantity square, so which is 36. And then combine them, so we do have 61. So square root of 61. So this one is a non-perfect square number, so basically we just leave it like this. So this one is just finding the distance in between 2 points on the xy coordinate plane. And then the next problem is quite similar. So again, so x1, y1, identifying the point first, and then x2, y2. So basically we just plug in a number and then basically evaluate it. So x2 minus x1, so negative 1 minus negative 3, so negative 1 plus 3, quantity square. And then plus y2 minus y1, so 6 minus negative 8, so 6 plus 8, quantity square. Again, this one, it's the radicals of the whole quantity. So negative 1 plus 3, quantity square, so we do have 2 square, which is 4. 6 plus 8, 14 square, so we do have. Okay, so what's 14 times 14? For those you're not quite sure what that is, so 16. 1 times 4, 4, plus 1, 5. 1 times 4, 1 times 1, which is 196. So 196 plus 4, which is 200. So this one is a non-perfect square number, but we can simplify it by breaking it apart. Perfect square number, non-perfect square number. So we do have a 10 root 2. Again, try to do the factor tree. This one can be split into 102. So one is a perfect square number, and the other one is a non-perfect square number. Okay, so that's the distance formula for the circles. So for those of you who might be wondering, why do we use the distance formula for the equation of a circle? Well, you'll see that later. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. So this one, for those of you kind of familiar with the equation, so this one is the equation of a circle. It's the standard form. So where h and k, it's the center, and r is the radius. So we do have x minus h, quantity square, plus y minus k, quantity square, equals r square. Write the equation of a circle with the given center, radius. So basically this one, we just put in that h and k, put it into the equation of a circle. Radius is already identified it. So we just put it in the number. So x minus 3, quantity square, and then plus the quantity of y minus 4 square. So that equals root 5, quantity square. So what I'm doing here, I'm just putting the number back to the standard equation of a circle. And then no need to expand it, no need to FOIL. So we just leave it as the factor form for that x minus 3 quantity square, y minus 4 quantity square. And then root 5 square, then that would be 5. And that's your equation of a circle. So for the next one, it's quite similar. So we just put in the h and k values. Okay, so h comma k. So we got x minus negative 2, so x plus 2, quantity square. And then y minus negative 7, so y plus 7, quantity square. So that equals 25 square, so 25 square, which is 625. And that's the equation of a circle. Okay, so now let's see what else we have for the rest of this. So 10.1 is actually quite straightforward. So find the center and the radius of the following. So if you guys do remember things that you guys did in Algebra 1, completing the square, and for those you probably completely forget what you learned from Algebra 1 for completing the square, and maybe Algebra 2, so things that we have to complete the square for. So this time we do have two variables, so that means you need to separate the variable first. So x squared, we just want to put it in for the first group here. So that's the first group. And then y squared minus 6y, so that would be considered the second group. Okay, so that equals 7, so the constant, we just isolate it. So there's nothing right next to the x squared, so that means x squared, there's no need to complete the square for. So the only thing that we need to complete the square is the second group. Okay, so anytime that you complete the square, make sure that the y squared, the quadratic term, and the coefficient is always 1. If the coefficient is something other than 1, then you have to do something first, okay? And so for this one, the way to complete the square for this, it's b over 2 quantity square, so the value of b, which is negative 6, divided by 2. So we do have negative 3 quantity square, so which is 9, so we add 9 here. And then on the right hand side, we also need to add 9. And then this one, just bring it down, so x squared plus y minus 3 quantity square. And for those you might be wondering the way that I get from here to here, because I factor it. So this one, anytime they complete a square, so the main purpose of doing that, you want to factor it completely. So that turns out to be a perfect squared term, the perfect square group. And then the rest of this, 7 plus 9, then that'll be 16. So here's the equation of a circle, so the center. So if h is not shown, that means h is 0, and then k, which is 3, and then the radius, square root of 16, then that'll be 4. So here's what we got for those given element. The central element for the equation of a circle, the center, the radius, and the one I'm boxing right now, this one is the equation of the circle we just found. Okay, so now let's try another one and see what happened. Okay, so the next one, so this one, again, we do have two variables, x and y. So again, first step, you want to group the like terms. So you want to group the like term first, and then once you get it done, and then you want to find out the number, you want to add on both sides. Okay, so I need more space, so let me just erase all this. Okay, so for the next one, we do have x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 2y. So that equals 4. Okay, we'll take a look at that. So this one, group the like terms. So what we got here, it's x squared minus 4x plus blank. We don't know what that is. And then the second group, we do have y squared plus 2y plus blank. So that equals 4. 4 is on the right-hand side. So this one, we need to complete the square for the x group and the y group. So b over 2 quantity square. So we do have negative 4 over 2 quantity square. So we do have 4. And then the other one, so similar. So 2 over 2 quantity square. And then, so that's 1. So plus 1. So that means on the right-hand side, we're not just adding 4, but also we need to add 1. So we're adding 4 plus 1, so which is adding 5. So we do have x minus, factor it. So we do have x minus 2 quantity square. And then the other part right here, factor. So we do have y plus 1 quantity square. So 4 plus 4 plus 1. So we do have 9. So that means the value of h and k, the center. So we do have 2, comma, and negative 1. And the radius, square root of 9, then that'll be 3. Okay, so that's the equation of the circle with the center and the radius. And now let's see what else that we have for the rest of this. Oh, that's it. Okay, so again, 10.1, it's pretty straightforward. It's about finding the distance, and then finding the center, the radius from the equation of a circle, and then complete the square. And then the previous one here, so just rewrite the equation. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so any questions that you have, any comments, so just put it up on the YouTube video. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care.